One of the greatest sins that ever was done by the Jewish people was the sin of the golden calf. Moses comes down from that mountain and he sees this golden calf being served by the Jewish people. He was so upset. Aaron, how could you allow this to happen? And Hashem says to Moshe, don't be upset at Aaron. This wasn't his motivation. He never wanted this to happen. And not only was he not upset, but he's going to be the priest in the tabernacle, and all the sacrifice is going to come through him. However, what do we find at the end of the Torah? The Torah tells us, Uva Aaron hisonev Hashem ma'od. To Aaron, Hashem got so angry. And our rabbis explain this is referring to the sin of the golden calf. So the question is, was he angry at Aaron, or was he not angry at Aaron? What was it? Our rabbis explain it was both. On one hand, Aaron should have stood up. He could have done more to prevent this travesty to the extent that we're suffering today because of it. And Aaron could have prevented it on some level or at all. And he got punished because of it. And Hashem was angry. But on the other hand, he was rewarded as well because he had good motivation. He never wanted this to happen. Hashem looks at the entire picture. It's multifaceted. He looks at everything. You see from here two very important lessons. Number one, when someone does something that you don't think is kosher, not appropriate, look at the big picture. You don't know what's going on 100%. And you'll be able to not judge the person, and you'll be able to look at him in a better light, just like God did to Aaron. And number two, I think you see, is that many times we're our greatest critics. We're very hard on ourselves. We try to do what's right. We want to do the right thing. Many times we fail, but that failure is many times comes first with a struggle. I remember my rabbi once told me, if you're faced with a challenge, in 20 minutes you're going back and forth, and you really try to resist, but ultimately you fail, on one hand you might say you're a failure. You failed, you couldn't control yourself. But he said like this, on the other hand, you're a success. For the first 20 minutes you succeeded. It's not so simple. Maybe you're not a failure, maybe you're a success. So when we're going through that challenge, go back and forth, and maybe we fail. Don't be so hard on ourselves, because maybe in the eyes of God, we're a true success and we're not a failure. Shabbat Shalom.